Welcome back to PSL Living. I'm Sarah Prohaska, Public Information Officer with the City of Port St. Lucie. The City of Port St. Lucie and all of the Treasure Coast, and actually all of the state of Florida, just experienced Hurricane Irma. And a lot of people got a firsthand experience with volunteers from the American Red Cross, who we are so thankful for all they do in our community. And today I have Sarah Rui of the American Red Cross to tell us a little bit about what they did during Hurricane Irma and ways we should continue to prepare. We're still in the height of hurricane season, and there's still things that we need to be on guard for. And Sarah's here to tell us a little bit about that. Thank you, Sarah, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Glad to have the opportunity. And thank you for everything the City of Port St. Lucie has done. We had a great partnership with the city and with the county during this Irma.
I think everyone worked together really well.
Right.
And I heard lots of great things from people who are in the shelters with the Red Cross volunteers. Really, I heard people were telling me to tell you thank you. So
that's really nice to hear because, as you said, they're all volunteers.
Yes.
They are volunteers who are working. We have a very small paid staff. We cover Indian River, St. Lucie, Okeechobee, and Highlands County.
I was going to ask, you're executive director.
And it's called Florida's Coast to Heartland.
Okay.
And we cover those 4 counties. And we have 3 full-time paid staff, one of whom is on leave at the moment, the other 2 of whom was myself and my disaster program manager. And she has actually been down in Palm Beach at the operations center running the mass care, which consists of the sheltering and the feeding and the distribution of emergency supplies. So, so if we had not had the volunteers who stepped up and opened the shelters, we would have really been suffering. And it wasn't just, although we had probably 35 local volunteers in our shelters, we had a plethora of volunteers who came from throughout the country who were here ahead of time, and they helped it, and are still working at our shelter in Percy Peak that's open as we speak today.
Oh, wow. Where is that, Highlands County?
No, it's it's in Fort Pierce.
Fort Pierce?
So we still have a
shelter.
Have
one. Right. I didn't realize that. Okay, because people still don't have power.
Right, and there are some folks whose homes were flooded. So we are working with the city of Fort Pierce and the county and our caseworkers and their caseworkers in hopes of getting that shelter closed in the next couple of days. And, and you know, I encourage anyone who's not already registered with FEMA who had damage to make sure they call FEMA and register with FEMA. That's the first step on the road to recovery.
And definitely do that. I know the deadline's coming up, so definitely try to get on that.
Right. I think you have a month, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, don't wait.
It's one of those things you keep thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and then the deadline's gone.
Right. So we had 4 shelters open here in St. Lucie County, and I just want to reiterate as we still go through hurricane season that these shelters are really opened as evacuation centers. And they are really the place for people to be safe. They're not a hotel. They're not what people consider a regular shelter. We can't provide cots and blankets. We just want people to be safe. So if we have to do this again, and hopefully there won't be another one, be sure to bring some bedding or a lawn chair or something to sit in because we don't have the capacity. We need to get as many people in and be safe as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we move to what we call host sheltering situation, like at Percy Peak, then we do have cots and we do have blankets and we have lots more things because that does become people's home for a short period of time. Right.
But during the storm, it really is. It's just a safe place to go, and so you need to make sure now's the time. Get your air mattresses or your cots and your blanket. So you're not scrambling.
Right, and basically when the Red Cross and the school districts and the county determine space, we allocate it on 20 square feet per person. So you think about that, that's 4 by 5. So, you know, if you're one person, don't bring a king-size bed.
True.
Mattress,
exactly.
So we just want enough people to get in and be safe. And we were, I think at Fort Pierce Central, we were at capacity at that shelter, and the other 3 were pretty. I don't have the exact numbers at this point because we're still gathering all that information, but I know we sheltered well over 1,000 people in St. Lucie County.
I'm sure.
And I think at the peak night in the state of Florida, we had more than 250,000 people in shelters, both Red Cross and other partner shelters. So a lot of people heeded the governor's warning, and a lot of people did evacuate, and thankfully, because it was really a very powerful storm.
Yeah, and you know, if we had been hit with a Category 5, who knows?
Right. Chances are we wouldn't be sitting here today in this building.
Exactly.
So we were fortunate in this part of Florida, but you know, just a couple counties over in Highlands County, they're still 25% without power. And you look at the Keys and you look at Southern Gulf over in the Lee and Collier, there's just an incredible amount of damage still in those places. So.
And I know you had some of our local Red Cross volunteers before this had been dispatched to Houston area, right?
Right.
And so
when Hurricane Harvey happened, we're in our chapter or our region is in the Southeast and Caribbean division of the American Red Cross, and they were very strategic to not deploy very many people because it was still the peak of hurricane season. So we had 5 or 6 who actually went to Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
They didn't go all the way to Texas.
Oh, they didn't.
Right.
Okay.
And then once Irma was coming, we were able to get them back. Our response vehicles went to Baton Rouge, and we turned around and brought them back.
Yeah.
And the good or bad thing about hurricanes is that you usually have days and days and days to plan.
Yeah. You're almost tired of it before it gets here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were able to get all of them back. But states like Wisconsin, I was talking to one of the gentlemen from Wisconsin, and they've deployed 150 to Texas of their volunteers, and probably another 100 to Irma. So we have more than 6,000 volunteers on the ground for these 2 huge operations between Harvey and Irma.
Well, that is awesome that people are willing to give their time and their talents to, and they're not getting paid, and it's just for the goodness of their hearts. So.
Right, and that's and people, we are not a government organization. That's the other thing is we do rely on the generosity of donors.
Okay.
And the Red Cross, 91 cents on average, 91 cents of every dollar donated goes directly into our programs and services.
That's
so if you make a donation to the Disaster Relief Fund or you make a donation to Irma or Harvey, you're going to know that 91 cents of that is going right into the program.
Okay.
To support the volunteers there, to support the clients, to feed them, to provide our bulk distribution items like cleanup kits and mops and things like that.
That's great.
Yes, we are very and that's because we have 94% of our effort is done by these fabulous volunteers.
Yeah, exactly.
That we have.
You don't have a huge paid staff,
correct.
so that's really great.
That is correct. Right.
So we were talking about donating. If there is someone who's watching and they would like to donate, what's the easiest way to give?
The easiest way is if you have access to a computer is to go to redcross.org/donate.
Okay.
And that's really the easiest way. So.
I think most people have access, so that is really the
that
easiest way.
That is the easiest way. And when you go online, it will ask you what the donation is for, and the choices will be disaster relief, Irma, Harvey, or where the need is greatest, which means that if you make that donation, Red Cross will put that money where we need it right at the moment. So or local is the other choice is to donate to the local.
I was going to say, can they say I want it to stay right here at home?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if you send a check in without any designation on it, it will be kept local because it's based on the zip code on the check.
All right, perfect.
So, right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. Is there anything else while I've got you here? Any other things, tips or messages that you'd like to give to the public?
I can say we're always looking for volunteers.
Okay.
So anyone who wants to volunteer, whether you can just come, if you want to come out and answer phones, or whether you want to work in a shelter or drive our trucks or whatever, please go to redcross.org/volunteer.
Oh, there you go.
And we'll get you. We have a great group here locally, and we can always use more volunteers.
Okay. Well, thank you again. And once again, I was taking phone calls from people saying thank you to these wonderful volunteers at this shelter. They helped them. There was an elderly couple who I talked to who they found them a cot. They went out of their way to kind of help, which was more than they expected, and they were so grateful. Right. So,
yes, we usually have an emergency supply of cots for elderly.
Yeah.
But so if we really find someone who's really struggling, hopefully we can help them.
Yeah, exactly. They were very grateful because they just came with blankets. They tried to find an air mattress beforehand. They couldn't. And they came with blankets, and they really felt like this volunteer was looking out for them. So they kind of felt that personal connection. So that was really great that awesome. Your volunteers are able to really affect people like that.
I am always in awe. My job, I feel that my job is to support the volunteers. When people say, what is your job with the Red Cross? I say it's to support those volunteers because they are the ones who really deliver and believe and eat and breathe our mission, which is to help in times of emergency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah. I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a very busy time right now, and thank you for coming on, and because it really is important for us to continue to remind residents that we're still in the height of hurricane season. We're really hoping we're done. Right. But you never know.
Right.
So
November 30th.
Exactly.
So it's a ways away, a couple months away still.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, Sarah.
No, thank you.
Okay.
All right. And we will be right back after these messages.